Welcome to the first episode of Voyage Beyond, where I'm on a journey to explore concept art. Honestly, I was having a hard time trying to figure out what I should do for my first project. But thankfully I looked outside and there was some quail, so I was just like, hey, I'll just start there. So I grabbed a few images and the voyage began. I started off creating basic shapes. I really wanted to keep it simple and save the refinement for later. Next, I started adding in shadows to help me get a grasp of the form. Then I moved on to color blocking and blending. After I got most of the color blocking done and blending, I started to refine the details. I started by adding some shadows to the feathers and trying to get it kind of like that overall shape of how feathers would lay on the body. Then I moved on to adding highlights and refining the edges. When I finally got to the eyes, I was a little concerned because I've never been really good at eyes, but lo and behold, they actually turned out a lot better than I thought they would. and I really enjoyed actually making them. Maybe because it was bird eyes and not human eyes or something, I don't know. But I was trusting the process, and I kept going, and it was working out a lot better than I thought it would. Then I started to add some highlights and shadows and other details to try and help the form really become more three-dimensional. This whole process I was doing with a new brush that I really hadn't picked up before. I'm usually just, standardized brushes, but this one had texture, and I ended up really enjoying it. And then the first bird was done. I was really excited, and I thought, oh, I got this process down, so I started on the second bird. Right off the bat, I felt like I was doing well, I was getting a bunch of the colors down, and then it just kind of all went sideways on me. The second bird was definitely more of a challenge than the first bird. The first bird had a lot easier colors to block out, and they really generally stayed in a certain zone. The second bird, however, had a bunch more subtle changes of color, but they were very unique to the overall look of the bird, so it was a lot harder to kind of blend it all together. The subtlety of details on the second bird made it a lot more of a challenge. I found myself quickly struggling with the details and how subtle they needed to be, instead of how vibrant and dramatic they were on the first bird. The art of the subtlety was a lot more difficult to get down than I thought it would be. At this point, I was telling myself to trust the process. I was having really big doubts that it would work out. The first bird worked out a lot better than I thought it would. The second bird became a whole bunch harder, probably because I thought I was doing so well. I don't know. But I was just saying, trust the process, it'll work. Slowly but surely, it started coming together, and I was very thankful that it did. Finally, both birds were done. I was excited with how well they turned out, and so I decided to do more. Probably not the best idea, but I was gonna do it anyway. I then went on to create a little bit more of an environment, a couple more details about the birds. For the egg, I started by creating the shape and just working out the lighting part to kind of give it that three-dimensional form. Once I got the general lighting kind of worked out over the egg, I started adding the speckles. I added some highlights and some bounce light on the bottom of it, and it came together really nicely. Then I worked on the dirt and the grass. The dirt was really easy because it was kind of like this sandy dirt area, and the grass was a lot of fun because it was like swooshy and fast and kind of layered up, just adding a couple of different colors, and it really came together really quickly and really nicely. And if you're gonna have dirt and grass, why not some rocks? So I added just a couple little pebbles here and there and a couple of rocks in the background. They turned out pretty good. They were a little more difficult because I didn't stay with the right color palette at the beginning, but you know what? It all worked out in the end. At this point, I just thought, hey, I could just throw in what it eats on the side, make it kind of like that trail guide poster. I looked up what they eat, made a quick design off of it, and I was basically done. I then went on to finish all the little details, placed everything where I wanted it, and then I jumped into the camera raw filter. And then I was done. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Even though I had doubts, I trusted the process, and it did come out a lot better than I expected. For one of my first projects, having a texture brush that I don't normally use, I think it did a lot better than I thought it would. I would love to know what you think, so go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe. Also, hit that little bell icon so you can see the videos as soon as I post them. That would mean a lot to me. Until next time, Voyagers.